Welcome back, everyone, to our coverage of the United Kingdom Championship qualifying competition. And this one is all about youth. 19-year-old Stan Moody finds himself in the unaccustomed position of being the senior player in this one because he's up against Zhou Jinhao, a wildcard in the event, who's 17 years of age, from China. Must say I'm looking forward to this one.
The first frame. Zhou Jinhao's a
Moody is seeded through to this phase of the championship. Zhou has already played a match here, and he beat a tour pro, Leon Crowley of the Republic of Ireland. He won 6-4 from 3-2 down, making a break of 116. Well, if that's a sign of things to come, we could be in for something special from young Stan. Quite a talent, Stan Moody, and it seems to me he's getting better all the time. Moody from Yorkshire, so it would be a real boost for the tournament if he were to qualify for the Victorian Plumbing UK Championship proper. And who's to say he won't? Little out of kilter there with the cue ball. Almost a very cheeky double, knowing the only red he could possibly leave was the one he went for. Despite his tender years, this is Stan Moody's third involvement in the UK Championship. hasn't qualified yet. In his first try, he was beaten in this corresponding round. Last year, lost out in the final qualifying round. He's bold, attacking. He backs himself. There, though. It was a big shot to take on with so many reds open. And now Zhou has his first good scoring chance. Can't miss those. They're the kind of balls you miss either very early on in a match or when the pressure's at its most intense, right at the end. He didn't play to make any contact with that red, but it was just a caress off the side of the red, so he's okay in terms of position. Got plenty of alternatives.
Six.
Last year, Moody in this championship lost 6-5 to He Guoquang. Trailed 4-1, fought back valiantly, but didn't score in the decider. So close to being in the championship proper without actually doing it. But he's a better, more well-rounded, more self-assured player 12 months on than he was then. And here is the interesting wrinkle. If he does win this match, guess who he plays next? He Guoquang. So an opportunity for revenge.
18.
Didn't quite strike the cue ball there as nicely as he wanted to. So no angle on the blue.
Yellow.
Superb, absolutely superb shot.
20. 47.
Our first match of the day on this table was something of a marathon that's not yet concluded. This opening frame looks like being a sprint, because young Moody has arrived at
34.
frame ball already.
35. 41. 42. 48. 49. 55. 56.
2 bites of the cherry from Moody. 30 break to open. Shortly afterwards, he missed a testing red from distance, but Zhou Jinhao then missed a red he should have potted at short range. And Moody went to work.
First frame.
A break of 60 from Stan Moody. The first frame went by in a flash. He leads Zhou Jinhao 1-0. Now, Stan Moody next month will be at the Scottish Open. He takes on Joe O'Connor in the first round in Edinburgh. That event takes place from the 15th to the 21st of December. Moody qualifying with a 4-1 win over Scotland's own Ross Muir. And if you want to be up there in the Scottish capital with Stan and the rest of a stellar field, tickets are still available. Head to WST.tv and click on tickets, and you can get whatever you require. Good lineup at the Scottish Open this year. Of course, John Higgins would love to win his home event. Another multiple world champion, Mark Williams, is there. So too the current world champion and the recent winner, very recent winner of the Riyadh Season Snooker Championship, Zhao Zhintong. Kyron Wilson, the world number 2. Neil Robertson, the world number 3. Champion of Champions winner Mark Selby. And defending champion Lei Pei Fan are just some of the stars on show. Last year, I commentated on a match between Stan Moody and Dwayne Jones at the precise stage of the UK Championship to this. Moody won 6-3, only made 1/2 century. Didn't really sparkle. But the talking point of that match was the fact that he was actually one for slow play. He did go through a period where he was a little indecisive. Not anymore. He's great to watch, and he's making giant strides. World number 50. And of course, with a deep run here in what is a major event, that could be a place in the 40s or even better. I think his recent form is reflected in the match odds for this one. Obviously, there's variations between the bookmakers, but essentially, you can get Zhou Jinhao at 4-1 against. Moody is a very warm favourite at 6-1 on. Just because he's 17, though, Zhou, and he's not a member of the tour, don't get the impression he's lacking experience on the big stage. This season alone, he's been a
Thanks, guys.
wild card in several events in China, as our referee Marcel Eckhart. No messing around, no nonsense. Quite rightly, the two players fully in agreement. It is going to be a re-rack. Yeah, so Zhou, he played in the Xi'an Grand Prix, International Championship, also in the Shanghai Masters and the Wuhan Open. He's highly thought of in his home country of China. Came very close to getting a World Snooker Tour card, actually, earlier this year. Reached the semi-finals of the World Snooker Federation Junior Championship in Morocco. And also, on that same trip, he made the last 16 of the WSF Championship, essentially the World Amateur Championship, losing out to Austria's Florian Nössler. As for the wildcards he's been awarded, well, that's given him matches against several big players like Mark Williams, Barry Hawkins, Sean Murphy, and Ronnie O'Sullivan. So he shouldn't be fazed by this occasion. Moody pleased that the cue ball travelled far enough for the brown to block Zhou's path to the open red. And talking of open, I think that's how this match is going to be. Very open. Another ambitious shot to take on. And because he didn't get hold of the cue ball to a great extent, he has left the red to middle. not as played, extremely fortunate.
Seven. Eight.
Well, Zhou has got some angle on the blue, but not the desired angle. Has to take the cue ball in and out of baulk. Just contemplating the green, but not really seriously. Played that quickly, and it could be really expensive if the red squeezes in. Or the cue ball squeezes through. Well, maybe at a really quiet pace, Moody could pop that off the right-hand jaw as we're looking. But, of course, he doesn't want to play at a quiet pace for position. It's really tight. So, Zhou has had his second slice of luck in this frame already. Just for a moment, let me do some housekeeping and keep you right up to date with what happened in this morning's session. 8 matches. Only 6 of them reached a conclusion. Liam Graham, great result for him. The man who came so close to winning the shootout last season. He doubled up on Oliver Lyons, winning 6-3. Longxi Wang, 6-4 over Liu Wenwei. Same score for David Lilly over Zhu Yichen. Liam Highfield made a couple of centuries in beating Gong Chenzi 6-3. First player to finish was Louis Heathcote, 6-4 over Hayden Pinet. And Artem Zhuzhin defeated Chung Kai Wei. As for the 2 matches that didn't finish, well, it's 5-4 to Brazil's Igor Figueiredo over Welshman Dwayne Jones. Mihail Shubachik, he's 5-4 up on Jordan Brown. They will resume later this evening, I'm told. And at the end of this frame, I will tell you all about what's occurring in this session right here and now. Well, the most important thing there was to block Moody's path to the red close to the top right-hand pocket, which he has done. But he didn't block the path to the plant. And so Moody now in with a golden chance, having put together breaks of 30 and 60 in the opening frame. I think he'd like to tidy up the table by getting the blue on its spot at some point, but the shot he's got now, this is just a tad tricky. Well done. a late November insect. That's a rarity in these climbs.
So,
Again, recurring theme. No angle on the blue. So having to settle for mid-distance.
12.
Great to see such an authentic prospect coming through and prospering on the tour. In the years ahead, I think it's fair to assume we're going to hear an awful lot about young Stan. As I said, when he first turned pro, there was a degree of indecision in there. But there's no imposter syndrome now. He knows he belongs. He knows he's as good as anyone, or he certainly feels that way. Feels as though he can give anyone a game.
27.
And so the hesitation has been replaced by fluency. Moody attempted a cheeky double in the first frame, but doing the right thing here, running for cover, or attempted cover.
33.
Zhou Jinhao is being a little too loose for his own good at the moment. He's actually had some pretty good luck. And again, that was the case there. Now, if the pink isn't in the way, and Zhou can pop the red to middle, that was a poor one from Moody. But the pink is in the way. Had a really good season so far, Moody. Picked up a nice few bob, as they say, at the Saudi Arabia Masters. Got to the fourth round there, overcame Liam Highfield, and then Ryan Day making a 142 break en route. But he knows what he's done before this season. There's no guarantee of success today against a youngster who clearly is on the up.
Six. Seven.
Biggest success today. Well, he got a wild card to the Invitation Shanghai Masters at the start of the season. And boy, did he fully exploit it. Beat Zhang Anda in the first round, 6-3, before succumbing to Ronnie O'Sullivan. And we all know how good Zhang can be. Now, he's got a really good angle on this red here to go into the awkward four, and he didn't make any contact at all.
40.
Plays quickly, aggressively, just as you might imagine a 17-year-old would. Well, Zhou's hit the front in the frame.
Zhou Jinhao, 26.
But maybe he's taking on a shot or two too many. The current world champion, Zhou Jinhao, is an absolutely supreme ball striker. And that's always a big asset to have. It's an asset that Stan Moody also possesses. Strikes the white with tremendous authority. Gets through it.
8. Stan Moody, 8.
Well, the first frame was rather decisive. This one, scrappy and tight. Well, Zhou has made umpteen attempts to dislodge the awkward reds on that left-hand side cushion. Just 2 remain.
So, Zhou Jinhao.
All kinds of stuff went on there.
Stan Moody. 6.
6 penalty points to Moody. Yeah, you can see that Zhou is still not the finished article. You might say he plays a little recklessly. You could definitely say he's a little over-ambitious. But as he's shown in the past, if he clicks, watch out. You never call him circumspect. No great mulling over what to do. Just gets down, pulls the trigger. And against someone as good as Moody, if you do that and you miss, you're heading for a rapid defeat, it seems. So here, the black would put Moody 20 in front. Just doing his maths. Well, he might have done the maths correctly, but he's overhit the cue ball.
Stan Moody. 8.
Useful 20-point lead, considering the awkwardness of green and brown, and the fact that there's only the black on each spot. Moody, I think he's tying his shoelaces. His big breakthrough this season came at the Wuhan Open. Got to the quarterfinals, his first ranking event, last 8. On the way there, he defeated no less than Deng Junhui 5-3. And then Zhou Yulong 5-1 before whitewashing Barry Hawkins 5-0. Lovely delayed action. Well, that side on the cue ball to take it in behind the black. Very good shot. Would have liked the red to be away from the middle pocket, though, because a contact here could see it go in. But there was no contact at all.
Foul in the Stan Moody. 4. And a free ball.
Oh, and we're still a free ball. On the horns of a dilemma here. Nothing straightforward. Does he have the cue ball back and risk that red being knocked in? I think that's the percentage move. But the percentages worked against Moody. It was a risk, as I said. And if this brown goes in, the whole complexion of the frame changes.
Zhou Jinhao. 1.
Moody 23 to the good, so the yellow, that would be partially doing the job. It means 25 in front with 25 on. Unless he gets penalty points, Zhou, the best he can do is pop the last 5 colours for a respotted black. Again, good thinking and precise execution from Moody. Not a bad escape, but this is frame ball. Well, I'm not going to say it was a gimme by any means. I expected him to be closer, though, than that. Caught it far too thick.
Zhou Jinhao. 3.
Moody can't quite nail down the frame. And I suppose you could say he was a little fortunate there that the brown and the cue ball avoided each other. And Moody might be feeling a little vulnerable here because all 4 colours now could easily be potted by Zhou to force that respotted black. A very different frame to the first. Slower, scrappier, tighter. Well, to borrow a phrase from Dennis Taylor, that really was the dreaded double kiss. In 4 pots' time, the scores could well be level. Pink and black needed to necessitate an extra ball. There's always drama around a respotted black, and this is no exception. This could mould the entire contest, you know. If Moody were to knock it in for 2-0, I think he might fly and win convincingly. If it goes 1-1, he could be in for a tussle. So Moody won the toss, asked Zhou to break. Where's the cue ball? Oh, playing with fire. Moody just a little more considered, a little more measured than his opponent. And in these kind of circumstances, I think that will serve him well. But hang on a minute, what a pop that was from Zhou Jinhao. That was by no means easy. Stan Moody was very close to capturing that frame on more than one occasion. But in the end, it is Zhou who equalises on a respotted black. 1-1. You know, we're watching two children of the social media age, aren't we here? A 19-year-old and a 17-year-old. And on that front, you can follow the World Snooker Tour on all platforms for video highlights, behind-the-scenes content and much more. And there's the WST app as well, which you can download for all of the latest live scoring, results, fixtures. And as you know, there's a lot going on the Snooker Tour these days, so that's the best way to keep right up to speed. And of course, every fortnight, every 2 weeks, there's the Snooker Club, which is the world's biggest snooker podcast available for you. Right, so let's get you up to date with what's occurring in the other matches this afternoon so far. Well, I can tell you Sanderson Lamb, who's around the relegation zone looking for a big win. He's taking on Simon Blackwell. Lamb won the first frame. Blackwell, of course, the conqueror of 1997 world champion Ken Doherty in the previous round. Robbie Williams and Yao Peng Cheng, they're currently 1-1. It's 1-0 for former world championship quarter-finalist Jamie Jones over Ashley Hugill. What about Alan Taylor and Northern Ireland's Robbie McGuigan? 1-1 there. Taylor winning the first frame with a break of 64. McGuigan equalising with a low-scoring second frame win. Really interesting contest between Kowalski and Craigie. That is 2-0 to Craigie. He's a fine player, he really is. And he won the first two frames handily with breaks of 76 and 63. What's more, Craigie also 52 points to 7 ahead in the third. There's a really heavy scorer who's down the rankings from China, but he does make some big breaks. He had 3 of them in his first round here. Jiang Jun, he's taking on Ben Mertens, and would you believe Jiang opened with another century? But he lost a tight second frame, so it's 1-1 there. And as you can see, it's a really busy arena here at the Robin Park Leisure Centre in Wigan. We're very close to the Wigan Football Club ground and also the famous rugby league team of Wigan as well. It's a real sporting hub around this part of town.
The third frame. Zhou Jinhao to break.
One other scoreline to give you. Julien Leclerc is taking on, well, sometimes a tough opponent in Haris Tahir from Pakistan, and I can tell you Haris Tahir leads 2-1 after losing the first frame. So often in this game, when you steal a frame from well behind, you get the first chance in the next. Not this time. An excellent red from Moody. It's got him straight in. But has he had any love with that splitting of the back?
Stan Moody.
Well, he wasn't sure. These players know instinctively whether they've potted a ball or not. He wasn't sure. It wibbled and wobbled and refused to drop.
One.
Now, to really embed himself into this match, Zhou would like to make a sizable break.
Five.
was a little wide, but at quiet pace, it was accepted by the pocket.
Spider. Twenty.
Clearly got bags of potential. Zhou Jinhao, 17 years of age. Makes you think back to 1993 when Ronnie O'Sullivan won this UK Championship at the age of 17. He remains the youngest ever winner of a world ranking event, and I think it's a record that will remain intact for quite some time. Just a little impetuous, sometimes plays too quickly, puts a quick one in, as they say. And I think that was the case with the missed black off its spot. I think it's fair to say that Stan Moody is not having the best of luck in this match so far. You see there, Zhou, having missed the black, might have expected to leave something. He's left nothing. Over on table 4, Simon Blackwell and Sanderson Lamb are now all square at one frame each. Jamie Jones has doubled his lead over Ashley Hugill to 2-0. The law of averages tell you that if you keep missing pots, if you keep going for ambitious balls, eventually you get caught out. But again, you see there, Zhou didn't leave a red he could have left to bottom corner. Moody had to take on a really tough one. And lo and behold, he's again been fortunate. Ironic smile from Moody. Who this time is fortunate himself. The way the nap works, that kind of shot is really tough. Moody's done excellently there, especially holding the cue ball.
Yates. Stan. Yates.
With the obvious exception of his 60 break to seal the first frame, Moody struggling to have lengthy spells at the table. It's all rather quick and frenetic. Another unusual looking configuration of the balls. One major criticism of Zhou Jinhao, he's just too loose. Give shots a little more thought, That is the second excellent pot he's knocked in with the rest, with cue ball manoeuvrability attached. This could be a key ball. Knocked in with a plum. He's definitely been the more eye-catching player so far, but nothing to show for it.
20. 21. 25.
Had to rely on a little bit of fortune there with a kiss. And he's dropped on nothing straightforward. This yellow has to be respected. Well, now from here, he really should regain the lead. This is frame ball. Nicely done this, especially after the disappointment of frame 2. Like most of the young players, can switch hands.
48.
Now will Zhou Jinhao come back to the table?
48. And if
staying in his chair, Marcel Eckhart putting the balls back up. And so, Stan Moody, with a break of 48, it was very well crafted, regains the advantage at 2-1. Now, the Victorian Plumbing UK Championship proper begins at its now traditional home, the Barbican in York, this Saturday coming. There are some limited tickets for certain sessions still available. And of course, if you really want to treat yourself, what about the VIP 1875 club packages? They include seats in the front 2 rows, champagne and a 3-course meal. So you ask, why 1875? Why that name? Well, of course, that was the year that the great game we all love, snooker, was invented in India. So become a member of the 1875 VIP club at York, and I can guarantee you will have a day to remember. And when it comes to getting tickets for events, signing up to WST Play is a good move. Doing that gives you ticket priority for the biggest events, such as the UK Championship. Also, it gives you free tickets to these qualifiers and a wide range of classic archive content. A lot of the content in that classic archive is older than either of these two players. Well, first indications, whoever gets in, the way the balls have already been well developed, whoever gets in could make a really big break here. The little flick on the brown has worked out well for Moody. Crunch. He was reliant on a good kiss, and when you pot a ball like that, you don't deserve that kind of treatment. I think he's snookered on all six colours.
The brown ball. Stan Moody. 1.
The red to the left hand top corner pocket is on, but the yellow is sort of in the way. Not of the shot. Yeah, but of his bridge hand. Not a great deal of caution being displayed by either player, is there? another criticism of Zhou is that he hits the balls too hard. That one, a bad miss, and it could well be a costly mistake also. Lovely situation to be in this. All three of the highest value colours easily accessible. The red's pre-developed. And now he really should make a few. I've been trying to rack my brains thinking about snooker players from the past called Stan. I come up with a couple of them. Stan Haslam, really good player from the north of England. Had a good buddy of mine for many a year, who's sadly no longer with us, from the West Midlands, former Midland amateur champion, Stan Bate. Wasn't quite sure whether the cue ball would make the full journey to get past the line of the pink. It did not. So this red, a little more testing. Well, both bounces there off side cushions were quite lively, especially I thought the second one.
Stan Moody 42.
It's a good lead, but Moody will be annoyed to leave the table. When he did, might well have secured the frame at that visit. Zhou trying to pop this red across the top cushion because there was a big pocket there, but not that big. Now, sometimes when the black ball or even the pink or blue goes over a top corner pocket, it can lead to a period of stalemate. Now, there is no way Moody, 42 ahead, wants that. Doesn't want the prospect of a re-rack, of course.
Zhou Jinhao, 4.
What a cracking pot that was.
1.
So is this frame going to be rather like the second, in that Moody was in control, but in the end, Zhou got it won. Now the two reds close together on the right-hand side cushion.
40.
They're obviously the friend of Moody. Zhou Jinhao will be plotting how to go into them.
21.
He would take some shot from here. Is he going to chance his arm with a double?
28.
That wasn't the shot, the double. The safety was, but again, I'll use that word, loose. Some might think that's unlucky. Should never have been anywhere near the pocket with the cue ball. When Moody was on his 42 break, it looked as though 3-1 was going to be the interval scoreline. Now we're not so sure. What a fluke! What a fluke! Sometimes flukes just happen and they don't really mean an awful lot. That could be the key to the frame. Moody's smiling, but inside he's, I was going to say frustrated. Now he's elated. Now he's elated.
Zhou Jinhao set.
It's not the fluke itself, it's what you do with it. Well, I'm sure that Moody would agree with me. That was a little clumsy. But he has been good with the rest so far in this match. Dug into the cue ball slightly more than he wanted to there. This brown is very missable. He needs brown and blue. Excellent, but not over the line yet. He is now. The missed black from Zhou Jinhao after that outrageous fluke has cost him. Moody has been the better player so far, there's no doubt about that, but it could so easily have been 2-all at the interval. In actuality, young Stan leads 3-1. He's halfway to progress. So we'll be back in 15 minutes' time. Just before I go, let me give you right up to date with all of the scores in the other matches this afternoon. Sam Craigie has raced into a 4-0 lead over Anthony Kowalski of Poland. It's 2-1 for Jiang Jun over Ben Mertens. Same for Sanderson Lamb against Simon Blackwell. Jamie Jones 2-1 up on Ashley Hugill. Alan Taylor quickly 3-1 over Robbie McGuigan. And at the interval, Julian Leclerc and Harris Tahir 2-2. Same thing for Robbie Williams and Yao Peng Cheng. See you in 15 minutes' time.
Try to keep the noise off, please. Guys. Guys. You probably don't realise, but it's quite loud. Sorry. Hello. How are we? How you doing? Good, yeah, good, good.
Welcome back, everyone, for the second half of this second qualifying round match in the Victorian Plumbing UK Championship here at the Robin Park Leisure Centre in Wigan. Stan Moody not at his best pre-interval, I think it's fair to say that, and yet he still has built a 3-1 lead over Zhou Jinhao. So the question is, can Moody pull away as expected? And talking of questions, David Hendon has joined me in commentary for this frame, and he can tell us about a very exciting new book that you've been involved with, Dave.
Yeah, I've been involved in a couple, but this is the one we're going to talk about now. It's the World Snooker Tour quiz book, which is available for Christmas. Fun for all the family. And there's 2,500 questions, so you know, we know there's a lot of people out there know a lot about the sport, but we've graded it. So effectively, there's lots of different sections. So, for example, Ronnie O'Sullivan, Sean Murphy, Stephen Hendry among the players, the World Championship, the Masters UK Championship as well. There's sort of potluck, general knowledge kind of round. And essentially, we've graded the questions by difficulty. So the red ball questions, it follows the colours of the sport. The red ball questions are all true or false, so you've got a 50% chance of getting those. Yellow are quite easy, so on and so on, up into the black section, which is deliberately very difficult. So you can play it any way you want, but you can in effect try and make a break. So you know, you have a red question, pick your colour. If you get that, go back to the red, and so on and so on. See if you can make a maximum. But yeah, it took quite a bit of time, it's fair to say, to put the questions together, but hopefully it will create a bit of entertainment for people this Christmas.
Well, Dave is too modest to say this, but I'll tell you what, don't only set the questions, he would know most of the answers, as would one of our good friends from the Republic of Ireland, Michael McMullen, who is extraordinary in his knowledge. So I think those two in a doubles partnership might make a 1-4-7.
Well, he had nothing to do with this, it was all me.
Dave's knowledge and that concept, I think, will make it a real winner.
Yeah, and it's quite refreshing, I think, to have a book, you know, these days. You know, it's not online. You can't sort of, well, you can Google the answers, but, you know, not if you're sat around with the book with other people. It's not going to be, well, it will be frowned upon. So, you know, it's quite old school. And during Judgment Day, or the two Judgment Days, so Wednesday and Thursday, we will be giving away copies. So we'll be asking questions from the book itself and, you know, asking you to email in and give away copies. I guess if we do another one in 10 years, there might be a section on this lad, Stan Moody, who I've been very impressed by at the way he's grown as a player, season by season. He seems to, every year, step up. He's had the odd setback. I know Ken beat him recently in the international qualifier, but in general, Phil, you don't want to build them up too much, but the signs are there. You know, he's going to have, hopefully, a really good career.
Absolutely, and, you know, he's only 2 years the senior of his opponent today. And yet, in terms of maturity and shot selections, he looks like the seasoned pro, and Zhou Jinhao looks like the rookie.
So I'm going to ask you a question, Phil. I've not told you this from the book, okay? I haven't brought the book with me, so I'll have to, off the top of my head. What? And you'll know this, I think, and I think people out there will know this. What is the middle name of Mark Williams?
Oh, it begins with a J. Is it John?
It's not. It's James. So there we are. That's not the best start to the to the break you were trying to make.
Yeah, well, I was playing safe. The one question, I think it might well be in the book, the one question that people consistently give the wrong answer to involves the UK Championship, actually. When you ask, who was the first player from the Republic of Ireland to win a world ranking event? So many say Patsy Fagan, because he won the UK Championship in 1977. But back then, this tournament wasn't a ranking event. It didn't have ranking status. So the first player from the Republic of Ireland to win a ranking title was someone you've just mentioned, Ken Doherty.
Yes, indeed. Of course, he was beaten yesterday. Stan, well, attempts to continue. He's annoyed by that one. I'll ask you another one, okay? See if you can recover.
I'm going to be 0 for 2 here.
Well, let's see. Okay, so in the UK Championship, 2 players in the UK Championship have made a 16 red clearance with the free ball at the start. Which 2? You should know one of them.
Silence is golden, Dave.
Well, you should definitely know one because it was the record break in snooker history.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the other one. I mean, I know it's Jamie Burnett, obviously, but I can't think of the second one.
He'll be playing, well, he'll be in the next round, so he'll be in round 3.
Would it be Tepchire?
No, I'll tell you because otherwise we'll be here all day. Ricky Walden.
Foundering, as they say.
Well, if this is your sort of thing, as I say, the World Snooker Tour quiz book is out now, and we will be giving away copies during Judgment Day. Well,
20 years ago, Dave, I think we just mentioned a 148 from Jamie Burnett. 20 years ago, I think I'd have been confident to get a 155. Now, I think I'd be lucky to get a 5. But it is a great concept, and you've done a really good job on it, as of course you did with Pots of Gold, which is an absolutely comprehensive and compelling history of the game that you've got every right to be very proud of.
13.
So we've got a question from the gallery, i.e. from our director, asking, in terms of the book and the quiz in the book, what's your highest break?
Well, I did all the questions, so so therefore it follows that I know all the answers.
15.
I will say this to try and dig myself out of the mire. When we flew back from Saudi Arabia the other day, there was a delay on the runway, or on the airport at Heathrow when we landed, and so one of the guys who was sitting next to her was part of the crew, put on the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire quiz, and got 125,000 straight out of the gate. I did. So maybe with general knowledge it's okay, but with the sport I'm connected with, I'm useless.
Yeah, that's a bit like that time when Ken missed the black for the maximum, and then the next day a newspaper took him down a snooker club, and of course he potted it 10 times out of 10 because there was no pressure on it.
Well, I was with Ken Doherty that day.
16.
There was a series on Sky at that particular time called Steve Davis and Friends, and I think they were running out of guests, so they invited me. Anyway, there were 3 programmes recorded back to back. First off, it was Ted Lowe, then it was me, then it was Ken Doherty, and we were all in the studio together. And this is the morning after the night before, when he missed the black against Matthew Stevens at the Masters, to miss out on a sports car that was worth around £80,000. Anyway, I said to Ken, "You okay?" He said, "Well, I'd be okay if I was allowed to forget it." About 10 people had come up to me already and mentioned it. And this is about 9 o'clock in the morning, so yeah, must have been a hard thing to swallow.
Yeah, and it still follows him around, doesn't it? And there's other people done it, not quite as high profile, but other people have done it. Tepchire, in fact, you mentioned there, done it a few times. Meanwhile, this frame continues, just 2 points in it. Very open table.
It really has been an open match. Both of them have gone for their shots. Moody, as you might imagine, a little more measured than his opponent.
Well, another chance has come for Stan Moody. Of course, he is from Yorkshire. He'd love to walk out at York. Liam Pullen is literally from York, so when he plays again tomorrow morning, be in the back of his mind he can make an appearance at the Barbican.
And if he makes another 147 in this championship, that would be £147,000 going his way, which would be by far Pullen's biggest payday.
Yeah, I mean, Ronnie did it, didn't he, in Saudi, and it was brilliant. I commentated on it. It was fantastic. 2 in the same match, but you get the feeling he doesn't necessarily need the 147,000, where for someone like Liam, as you say, would be transformative. Jackson Page, of course, did it at the World Championship in the qualifying, and he actually bought a shop off the back of it. He sells sort of trading cards and Pokemon cards and that sort of thing. So he's invested that into something worthwhile.
As Stan goes about his business, I've got to tell you this story about Ronnie's 2 147s. I was over in America at the time, commentating on 3 back-to-back pool events, and we were in Roanoke in Virginia, lovely city in the Appalachian Mountains. We were in a club
16.
at this particular event, which featured all of the game's top players, and O'Sullivan was making those 147s while we were in the club commentating on the pool tournament. And I remember lots of Americans who you don't necessarily associate with having a great interest in snooker. Lots of them were very excited when he made his first maximum, and you can imagine what they were like when he made his second. The news filtered through, and yeah, it was a real big talking point.
Yeah, it was an amazing thing to witness, and Chris Wakelin sort of became the double Mick Price, didn't he? He was the opponent. Anyway, we'll see how Liam gets on. Tepcharan knew as well also. He's made one, of course, in Saudi, so he would be up for the bonus, and he's exactly the sort of player who would do it, actually. He'll be in action, of course, tomorrow.
One thing, Dave, that Moody's been very good today with, using the rest. He's not been flawless. He has missed the odd one, but he struck some beautiful shots using this particular implement.
Yeah, played it confidently, didn't he? He played it like he fancied getting it, and let's be honest, that's not been the pattern necessarily throughout these qualifiers. Some of the matches we've seen, there's everyone under pressure in different ways. So he's 32 in front. He'll need another red after the pink. So just to reiterate, the World Snooker Tour quiz book is available now, and we will be giving away copies on Wednesday and Thursday. I think you might be one of the answers, actually. We were sort of grubbing around for questions at one point, but I think you're in there.
Who is the shortest, fattest commentator around? Is that it?
Well, no, but maybe we could fit that one in.
If it was, I'd be curmudgeonly and kind of diet to prove people wrong. Well, Moody at the moment is proving the bookmakers right. He was 6-1 on to win this match before the start. And nothing has altered the opinion of that, the status of that.
50.
Right now, he's a massive favourite. Highest break of the match so far, the 60 with which he won the opening frame. That's under threat. It's been beaten.
64.
Had he missed a black like that in live play, he would have been mortified. It didn't matter. Stan Moody marches on. He leads Zhou Jinhao 4-1. It's a really busy afternoon. It's a really busy day here in Wigan. A total of 24 best of 11 frame matches will be played today. Sam Craigie and Anthony Kowalski have returned from their interval. Craigie still 4-0 ahead. Zhang Jun 3-1 up on Ben Mertens. Sanderson Lam has arrived at the interval against Simon Blackwell, leading 3-1 in what is a vital match for Lam. Trying to stay in the top 64 to retain his card for next season. Jamie Jones and Ashley Hugel 2-2. That after Jones won the first 2 frames. Alan Taylor 3-1 up on Robbie McGuigan, although McGuigan is looking good to win the 5th. Haris Tahir of Pakistan, he leads Julien Leclerc 3-2. And it's the same scoreline for Yao Peng Cheng over Robbie Williams. So 4 tables on one side of the arena, 4 on the other. Stan Moody now looking for a quick kill. Hoping to advance in comfortable fashion. Well-weighted cue ball. Just a reminder, these matches currently taking place are the last knockings of qualifying round 2. The 3rd qualifying round starts tonight at 7:30 here. Host of really good matches. Dave Gilbert takes on Julian Boyko. It's Rob Milkins against Daniel Wells. Ian Burns up against Luca Brissell. Jackson Page will be playing Michael Holt, who scraped through 6-5 against Rhian Evans yesterday. India's leading player, Ishpreet Singh Chadha, takes on Yuan Sejun. It's Liu Haoshan up against a former UK champion, Matthew Stevens. Mitchell Mann faces Chris Wakelin, the highest ranked player involved in qualifying for the championship. And as for the match we're featuring on this table, well, it could be a really good one. It is Chang Bingyu, very heavy scorer from China, up against another former UK champion who's already won a ranking title this season in the Championship League, Stephen Maguire. So Maguire, Chang, coming your way at 7:30. Zhou Jinhao has got a lot of skill, but he's also got a lot to learn. Not punished on this occasion, but he does play an overly attacking game. Hits the balls a little too hard. Of course, he's got time on his side massively.
6.
Well, that is inexcusable. And what hurts even more,
6.
the red has come back and left Moody bang in. Now, is the red that's very close to the centre pocket, does that entice him to play one red onto the other? I think it's so close to the pocket, any kind of contact would see it go in, or pretty much any kind.
9.
Now, pink or black, both qualify as pressure balls, in the sense that if either goes in, this is a wonderful chance for young Moody. I mentioned earlier that Moody had got to his first ranking event quarter-final at the Wuhan Open. Well, he did the same at the British Open, now becoming the likes of Ali Carter
21.
and Kyron Wilson there. Plus a very tough first-round draw in Zhou Jinhao. He beat Carter again, actually, 5-3 in the last 64 of the Xi'an Grand Prix.
22.
And as the draw would have it, Moody had the chance to complete a trilogy of victories over Carter in the second round of the Northern Ireland Open recently. In fact,
28.
he led 2-0 and 3-2, but Carter got the verdict 4-3. I'll repeat myself. One of the highlights of Moody's display today has been his rest play. Very, very good indeed. If you were watching before the interval, you might recall he shaded the fourth frame on the blue. One of the crucial shots there, potting the green with the rest. And that was pretty crucial also, splitting the pack like that. He's very much on course now for a 5-1 cushion. It's been a while since we've had a teenage
50.
star from Britain coming through, like Moody. Obviously the class of 1992, Higgins, O'Sullivan, Williams. Another wonderful player from Yorkshire, the late, great Paul Hunter. A little later on from that, Judd Trump. And you just get the sense with Moody, the way he hits the ball, that the
56.
the ceiling for him is very high indeed.
57. 62. 63.
57 in front, 59 on the table, so this rudimentary pink to the middle pocket is frame ball, and 5-1 is beckoning.
Yeah. 69.
In our first match, centre stage this morning, it wasn't the most fluent, but we did see a 135 break from Jordan Brown.
70.
Are we going to see a century from Moody? Let's judge the cannon on the pink. So the break ends at 77, and of course, so does the frame. Stan Moody was held to 1-1, but he's won 4 frames in succession, and now he needs one more to make it into the third qualifying round of this Victorian Plumbing UK Championship. Just a reminder of how the draw pans out. If, as looks overwhelmingly likely, Moody is a winner today, he will return tomorrow night to take on He Guo Kwang, who was the player who defeated him in the UK Championship qualifiers last year. As 4 matches currently taking place, it's still 3-2 for Yao Peng Cheng over Robbie Williams, 4-2 for Harris Tahir over Julian Leclerc. Jamie Jones has retaken the lead against Ashley Hugillard, 3-2. Sanderson Lam and Simon Blackwell still on their interval, with Lam 3-1 to the good. Zhang Jun, very heavy scorer from China, leads Ben Mertens 3-2. Sam Craigie having things all his own way, leading Anthony Kowalski 5-0. And Craigie has been pretty tidy, making breaks of 76, 63, 51 and 52 so far. Kowalski, famously, when he turned pro, said he doesn't feel pressure. Well, when you're 5-0 down, you do. Zhou is 5-1 down, and he looks dispirited. Moody turned professional in 2023 after winning the World Snooker Federation Junior Championship in Australia. It was clear then he was good enough to potentially make an impact. When players turn pro, there are no guarantees. You're never quite sure how they will adapt, but Moody is adapting really well. And let me tell you, he will be thinking, I'm in to win here. This is the chance. The game's elite pride themselves on winning matches, slamming the door when they get a chance in a single scoring visit. And that's what Moody, after that shot especially, can easily do here. This has been much like his run-outs as a wild card in the big Chinese events this season. Invaluable experience for Zhou Jinhao. But try telling him that now. I don't think he'd welcome that info. He wanted to win, as he did against Leon Crowley in the first round, making a century. Today, that form has not been in evidence.
56.
In fairness, Moody wasn't anywhere near his best pre-interval. But in the second half of the match, he's shown us just what he's capable of.
60.
And now the end is very nigh.
66.
This red, which should be a formality, is frame and match ball.
67. Yes. 74. 74. 82. 82.
That's a shame. The red sent to the near jaw, but a break of 82, more than sufficient to see Stan Moody through convincingly. Before the interval, well, plenty of mistakes. After the interval, Stan was mean, moody, and magnificent. 6-1, he now plays He Guo Kwang in the third qualifying round, the penultimate qualifying round of the Victorian Plumbing UK Championship. So that's it from our featured match this afternoon. Of course, there's still plenty of action going on here at the Robin Park Leisure Centre. Sam Craigie, 5-0 up on Anthony Kowalski. 3-2 for Zhang Jun over Ben Mertens. Sanderson Lamb tightening his grip against Simon Blackwell. It's 4-2 now. Jamie Jones still 3-2 over Ashley Hugill. 4-2 for Alan Taylor over Robbie McGuigan. 4-2 for Harris Tahir against Julien Leclerc. And that same scoreline, 4-2 for the young Chinese player Yao Peng Cheng against Robbie Williams. Hope to have your company this evening for the first group of third qualifying round matches. Our focus will be on a Scot who's captured this title in the past, Stephen Maguire, taking on a heavy scoring player from China, Chang Bingyu. 7:30. See you then.